Rev up your engines!
Well, I've warned people for years not to buy Chryslers and Jeeps. When Fiat took over, it was bad enough. Stellantis, it got even worse. Well, guess what? A survey was now done that says that Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram has now unseated Ford as the least trusted vehicles out there in the United States. Now, Ford did it because of all the recalls that they got. And of course, this year, Stellantis beat them. There were more recalls in Stellantis than in the Fords. Guy decided to do a survey, what's the least trusted? And what came out? Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. I'm happy that other people are starting to acknowledge the truth, trying to get you to buy crap and slamming it in your face. Ooh, look how great these things are. Well, that's advertising. The real world is not an advertising world. You find out you buy one of these things, it falls apart. And of course, you have no recourse there. You bought it. It's yours now. And it's often very hard. Years ago, they gutted a lot of the lemon laws in the United States. When they originally came with the lemon law, it wasn't all that bad. If you had the same problem like 3 times in a row, you could force them to buy the car back, and then you could go get something else, right? They've gutted that so much that unless, the engine explodes 8 times, shrapnel comes out of it, they're not going to buy that car back. They don't want it back. They're trying to sell cars. They don't want to buy them back, right? At least other people are recognizing that the least trusted brand is now all the Stellantis products in the United States. And they can put all the hype they want in advertising about they're going to sell this or that and sell you an electric Fiat. Last year, I think they sold like 175 Fiat electric cars in the United States. Some insanely tiny figure, right? They can advertise all they want. Listen to guys like me. You won't get stuck in a hole like that. And at least other people are finally coming forward and saying, gee, these Chrysler, Dodge, Ram products, they're not very good. We don't trust them. Well, if you're thinking about messing around with electric vehicles, I'm not a big fan, but if you want to try it out, hey, the Volkswagen ID.4 now costs less than $200 a month to lease. Because guess what? They can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy them, so the leases are now low, low, low. Volkswagen's now advertising the 2024 ID.4, the little SUV, starting at $999 down, $149 a month for 24 months, which is an average monthly lease cost of $184 a month, plus tax and license, right? So, if you're thinking about it, less than $200 a month for a car, and of course, realize, this is Volkswagen ID.4. It does not have a very long range, and this is the standard trim one because it's the cheapest lease, that it has 206 miles on a full charge. But then you're not supposed to go below like 12%, so there's another 12% you knocked off. So the range actually isn't that much. That's what a lot of people don't understand. If you have a gasoline car and they say it's got a range of 450 miles, okay, that's pretty much what you can go. Maybe you can drive it till you only have a gallon or 2 left, so you lose a little bit. But that's pretty much how far you can go. These electric cars, their range is a joke. Their range estimation is just from the beginning false, because you don't go 0 to 100. But worse than that is in the winter you get worse, in the summer when you run the AC you get worse. So the range isn't what they normally tell you. It's one heck of a lot less. But if you're thinking maybe you don't make trips more than 100-something miles a day, if you get a Volkswagen for $180-something a month lease for 2 years, am I going to say, boy, I hated this, or maybe you'll like it. Who knows? But when it's that cheap, and the reason it's that cheap is because they can't sell the things. Whenever they can't sell vehicles, you start getting cheap leases. Like that guy in Colorado at a Fiat dealer, he leased a Fiat 500e. He had to pay the tax, and it came out to like $18 a month for the lease period. So, not that I want a Fiat 500e, but hey, if it was that cheap, if I could lease one for $18 a month, you can only do it in Colorado, and I'm not there, so I can't. But if there was one here, I would go and do it just to see, so I could test it out. Hey, for $18 a month, I'd be driving and testing it out, telling you guys all about them, making funny videos with them and stuff. When it's that cheap, what the heck? So, maybe try one of these Volkswagens you want to mess with the $180 a month if you have good credit. See what it's like. You don't like it? Hey, after 24 months, it's gone. Well, I don't have any sympathy for fools. Maybe you do. One guy bought a Cybertruck. He hates it. Now he says, quote, I want to cut my losses and move on, but I can't give this thing away. I've lost so much money already. He bought a Cybertruck, decided he didn't like it, and now guess what? He can't sell it. Well, he could sell it if he lowers the price enough. They can't sell the new ones, and the used ones, even worse. Somebody would buy it if he lowered the price enough. It's just that he hasn't gone low enough yet. People are finding out these electric vehicles aren't for them, especially something like a Cybertruck with the gigantic battery. Charging that thing's going to take a long time. People don't realize how long it actually is and how there aren't that many superchargers around. You got to use a supercharger on one of those, because that one guy took a Cybertruck to visit relatives. I guess it was in West Virginia, and the father had bought a 240-volt charger for his son who was coming, but it was the wrong one. It didn't fit in the Cybertruck. So it took like 6 days for it to charge it up at 120 volts. They use a lot of electricity. And a lot of people are realizing maybe that's a stupid idea. Glad I didn't buy one. Now, the poor souls who bought them and they want to sell them, guess what? Take your shirt off, maybe your pants too, because you're going to be taken to the cleaners selling that thing to somebody else. Well, here's a woman who bought a Tesla, and she's not happy. She says, and I quote, "I've had my Tesla Model 3 for 2 days, and I really want my Toyota Camry back. Don't believe them if they tell you Tesla's better than the Camry." She made the mistake that she fell in love with the idea of a Tesla. Oh, I'm saving the planet, la, 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 la. So she went and traded her Camry in at a dealership. Now, it wasn't a Tesla dealership. It was a Toyota dealership. But they had a Model 3 used on their lot. And of course, they want to get rid of that thing because nobody wants to buy them. Hertz selling their fleet of the Model 3s. The prices have dropped like no tomorrow, and nobody really wants them. So the salesman at Toyota, of course, he had to sell it. He wants to sell this and get his commission. So, oh yeah, these are great. They got all this range. Don't worry about it. La, la, la. And then she gets it and realizes, gee, you got to charge these things up for a really long time, and I've got range anxiety. And the main thing was she took a 20-mile trip when she bought it. She bought it, drove it home 20 miles, and she looked, and she had lost 40 miles of range. And I see that all the time. I had one, I was road tested in Rhode Island, and I really got on it. I drove it real hard, and I drove it about half a mile. And it lost 4 miles of range driving it that half a mile because I was driving it hard. And she all of a sudden had range. And, oh man, if I went 20 and it said I lost 40 miles of range, does that mean the range is cut in half? Sometimes it is, right? But of course, the salesman at the Toyota dealer, he didn't care. He wanted to sell her that Model 3 because they're very hard to sell. They will tell you anything. Don't believe anything salesmen tell you because they're trying to get you to buy something. And then she finds out, oh, gee, it's not the range it has. Well, somebody, now she's pleading, will somebody please buy it from me? Hey, you made a mistake, and now you're asking somebody else to make a mistake. Sometimes, people, you have to pay for your own mistakes. She went from the most reliable, nice long-range Camry to a Model 3 Tesla electric car with all the baggage that electric cars have, and then she decided she didn't like it. So here's the thing. If you're thinking about buying an electric car, rent one. Rent one for a week and see what happens. You might hate it. You might absolutely detest it. Or if you're even stronger for it, lease one. You can get a 2-year lease on a lot of them, and Volkswagen's got a 2-year lease on their ID.4 now that is like $184 a month. Maybe just lease one, because she's going to lose her shirt if she sells that Model 3 now after trading her Camry in. She's going to lose a lot more than probably the whole 2 years leasing if she would have leased an ID.4 electric car. You know how much you're going to lose? 184 times 24. Okay, that's what you're going to lose. So maybe try that. But don't buy one and then say, gee, I didn't really want this thing. I don't like it. Well, winter's at it. Now it's up and running. A giant blast of snow, ice, and bitter cold is gone from the Midwest to the East Coast now. Plan ahead with this stuff. Realize if you have ice in your area, just don't go outside. It doesn't matter if you have 4-wheel drive, giant snow tires, ice, unless you have ice skates on your car, it doesn't work. The tires will slide. And of course, the worst thing on earth is what's called black ice. At night, it freezes. You don't see it. And then you slide all over. I almost got killed going from University of Illinois to Ivesville, Illinois one time in the winter because, hey, it looked perfectly clear. There wasn't snow on the road, but what had happened was it had melted in the daytime and then it froze at night, and I was driving at night. You really have to watch out for it. And if there's been a problem, like it's been a lot of rain, and then at night it freezes, my advice is don't go out at night. You can't control a car on ice. It doesn't matter what kind of traction control you have. I'm sure you've seen those YouTube videos of the people that are going down the hill and they're in brand new vehicles and they're sliding sideways and then mashing into each other. You can't control things on ice. Now, snow, of course, if you live where it snows all the time, you're better off with snow tires, but a lot of people don't buy snow tires anymore. All-season tires are pretty good as long as you're not in really deep snow. Don't have a deep tread and aren't snow tires. They don't work that well. You still need snow tires if you're going to be driving in deep snow all the time, no matter what system you have. Now, if you don't drive into deep snow, you just wait for the plows to go through. Now, you're not going to have any problems, right? You know, if the snow's deep, the best thing to do is to stay home, have a cup of hot chocolate, and watch something on Netflix. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.